Hello?
Yes, hello.
No.
Carl, this is Posr, and he is a producer at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I just met him. He has a reputation. I was delighted to meet him because I knew about his work. And I told him about your ballot initiative versus what he just shot. And he'd rather learn more about what your ballot initiative is. So I'd like to introduce you to him, and he'll ask you questions.
Absolutely. It's nice to meet you.
Pleasure to telephonically meet you as well.
Hey, yes.
I was just told about the ballot initiative. I was filming at the event, and it's at the St. Mark's event where Cynthia Kinney appeared, and I don't know what the name of Les Jameson's group is, but they have 30,000 signatures, saying that if there are a certain number of signatures, that a new commission, a new study, a new 9/11 study commission, led by citizen-led, will be unstoppable, and I guess funded by public money. Let's just start there. What do you know about that?
Well, I started that. Les and I started that. It was my idea.
And how long ago when was that?
Oh, in about April, a year ago, more than a year ago.
And
I got it on a telephone call with 9/11 activists throughout the nation. It was about 20 of us on the telephone call, and a guy in Washington, state of Washington, said, "Why don't you use a ballot initiative in New York City?" And I said, "What is that? I never heard of it."
Who was that in the state of Washington?
Because we had a nationwide concern about 9/11.
No, who was it? Who was it? What was the guy?
They were talking about holding a public grant.
What was the guy's name in Washington?
I forget the guy's name. I should remember it.
That's okay.
I'd have to look it up. But he was.
That's okay.
I thanked him for telling me that, and I looked up the law, and I wrote the petition. But the first petition I wrote was under the wrong law. It was under the charter, and I found that there was a better provision under the New York State Constitution, actually under the New York State Home Rule Law. So I rewrote the petition, but when I rewrote it, I saw that we had to provide financing for this operation. So I said, well, gee, why not appoint me as Attorney General for New York City, and I'll do what Spitzer did, where he raised $3 billion for New York State in 1 year.
Now that's it. That's the other part of this that I hadn't heard before, because the petition that you put forth, and I haven't seen it, but called for the creation of an office called a City Attorney General?
New York City Attorney General, and it appoints me as the first New York City Attorney General, and my office would expire when the commission, 9/11 commission with a subpoena power expires. But I would like to demonstrate that I can raise, or any Attorney General for New York City can raise billions of dollars by suing the wrongdoers, suing people who owe money to New York City, but they're so politically powerful that the present people in charge don't go after them. They only go after small people. So instead, I would try to enforce the rights of residents, of citizens, of small businesses, of homeowners, of unemployed, of retirees, of employees. The people who are no longer represented by elected officials, I want to represent them, go into court, and end some of the practices that have deprived them of their life, liberty, and property.
Well,
so at government expense.
Do you remember, just offhand, what article and section of the Constitution this home rule provision?
Well, I don't know the number, but it's in the New York State Constitution. They are required to allow the voters in each of the cities, towns, and villages to be able to enact laws themselves, even if their elected leaders don't want the laws. But the laws cannot be in conflict with either state or federal law.
So what then happened with you and Les when you told Les about this, and what happened?
Les got a group of people together to go on the commission, and the main really nobody on the commission who's from New York, the place that's hit worst of all. And Pepper agreed to the Attorney General concept at a meeting that we had in a restaurant down on 8th Avenue and 2nd Avenue, 8th Street and 2nd Avenue. He agreed to it in front of our group. And then a few months later, he said that he's not going to go forward with it. Once the petition was started, he said that he's not going to go forward with the Attorney General. He liked the idea, he never did, and he just turned around and totally broke his agreement with us, and he cut the Attorney General out of it. He said he wouldn't mind having me continue as an attorney for the commission, but he doesn't like the New York City Attorney General. But what he did in doing that is that he eliminated the funding that he did, which you have to demonstrate under the Home Rule law. You have got to provide the funding or state that you're going to tax the people. So he doesn't want to tax the people, and I don't blame him, but he hasn't provided funding for it either. You can't just say, don't worry, once we do this, we'll get the money somehow. That's all that he said. That's not a plan for funding.
Well, now, how were you going to use you're going to create the Office of City Attorney General before the funding?
No, at the same time, we can run the commission on no money for a while. I mean, it's essentially legal, but we don't have to pay. We would defer salaries, but the New York City Attorney General would be able to sue people who owe money to New York City, and Cuomo already has collected like $1 billion this year.
And what you're saying is that there are people that you would be able to collect, or people or corporations or organizations that you would be able to collect the money from in order to...
As the attorney for New York City, suing people that deserve to be sued. I mean, you see, this is not slip and fall cases on the sidewalk. We're talking about who owns America and how they're violating the antitrust laws, the civil rights laws, how they're moving jobs to other countries, and all sorts of different things that legally there are, in many cases, good reason to bring suit. But New York City and no place else really does anything.
Did you have some people in mind that you kind of, and I'm not going to ask you who they are, but did you kind of have some organizations or defendants already in mind?
Well, let me give you an example. I currently, as a plaintiff, I am suing Google for monopolization. Personally, I'm suing Google for monopolization. 2 days ago, the Justice Department hired an attorney to investigate and see whether or not the Justice Department...
Hired an attorney to do what?
They hired an attorney by the name of Sanford Litvak, who is Disney's counsel, and he quit his job, and he's now working for the Justice Department. He's a big antitrust lawyer. They hired him to determine whether the government should sue Google for monopolization. I'm the only one in the world today, or ever, who is suing Google for monopolization. So this is the kind of thing that we need to do. Google is too big, and I was running ads to run for Attorney General at a penny a click. Overnight, they told me I had to pay 50 cents a click or they wouldn't allow me to run any ads. I had to pay $500,000 for 1 million names instead of 10,000. So they cut my candidacy out. I couldn't run. They have the power to increase my price 50 times, while at the same time they are charging eBay half the click for the same words. eBay pays half a cent, I pay 50 cents. That isn't fair. These are illegalities that need to be addressed, but you've got to have a sophisticated lawyer doing it. You don't need slip and fall lawyers. You don't need real estate zoning lawyers. Most people who represent towns and villages and cities are either defending slip and fall or medical malpractice cases or are involved in zoning. I'm involved in antitrust and civil rights, and that's a big difference. We need to have one person such as me in every one of the 40,000 towns, villages, and counties throughout the country so that we bring the expertise of the Attorney General down to the level where people live and where the results can be applied to make life better for residents.
Let's just call this part one. And I'll give you the final, the final words on part one of I don't know what to call it, but
The Real Ballot Initiative.
the Real Ballot Initiative. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. What would your final comment at this point be?
The final comment is that I am looking for one town in the United States who's willing to accept these free things. I got 4 free offers in a package. I'm giving them a free college. I'm giving them an employment agency that will be the employer of record for everyone working for small business. I'm giving them a town attorney general, and I'm giving them the ability to sell their services as tasks rather than as jobs so that they can compete in a market which is going away from jobs and going more into independent contractors. So I have a website where people can offer their services as tasks to the world, and they can start making money again, because now most people are losing money. They're on the wrong side of the economy. I'm trying to change it at the town level. I think I can do it.
Why don't you just give that website out and say goodnight?
Thank you.
No. Give that website number.
The website is lawmall.com, LAWMALL.com, and when you get there, select on the left the candidates option, and you can see a variety of things we have, including the ballot initiative, the MyPlads website where people can list their services. I've got all sorts of things, and the election issues the subdivision, which is there also, gives you those 4 free things that I'm offering. I need one town in America. I will go in there and we can start the ball rolling if I get one town wanting to change itself.
So just one thing to clarify, because I'm more familiar with your work, and Posr, this is kind of mind-blowing that these 30,000 signatures are for possibly a flawed initiative. How do you get subpoena power with just a group of people?
You can't. You need to have a government give it to you, or you have to be in a lawsuit. So if you're in a lawsuit like for Judge Hellerstein, in theory you would be able to have the subpoena power, but if the case is stayed so you can't get discovery, then you can't use it. But if you're a governmental agency has been given the subpoena power, then you can issue a subpoena and force people to testify.
Okay, so the initiative that they have 30,000 signatures for, have you seen that initiative?
I don't believe they have 30,000.
Well,
but that's neither here nor there. Many of those signatures would be invalid, so you need at least twice as many as the 30,000 for openers.
No, that I understand, but the initiative itself, is it flawed without the City Attorney General's office? Does it have subpoena power?
Yes, it would. Yes, it does. It would have the subpoena power if it were enacted. Yes, absolutely.
No.
They only took out my independent attorney general concept. They didn't take out the subpoena power.
No, so what I'm saying is, when you take out the City Attorney General, you also take out the subpoena power, correct?
No, absolutely not. I wrote it so that the commission had the subpoena power, and all I was going to do was to go into court and enforce it. I don't need the subpoena power as Attorney General for this purpose. It was the commission that got the subpoena power, but I was going to go into court as
an attorney representing the issue.
As the Attorney General. That's a big difference from getting Joe Smith going into court for the commission. I wanted somebody with a big name, like a New York City Attorney General, going into court and saying, hey, I'm representing the commission.
Elected.
I want to enforce these subpoenas. That's a big difference. That was my concept.
Yes.
No, but that's why they say what Pepper told me when I went after him, and you'll see it because I'll post it on YouTube. What he said was that it's a side issue. If they already have subpoena power without the City Attorney General, why throw on the City Attorney General?
Because the City Attorney General is the only way they can get the money to finance it. They don't have a financing plan, and therefore it's going to die.
It's the name recognition of City Attorney General.
No, it's the fact that the Attorney General will, by suing people, can raise the money needed to finance.
Well, anybody could. I mean, the commission itself could raise the money.
They can't. It's not a plan. You have to have a plan, just a plan of saying that the voters are now voting for something, and the people behind the plan say, don't worry, we're going to get the money somehow. That's all they've said. That's not a plan. The statute requires that you set forth a plan.
So in the initiative that you originally set forth, it's in the plan.
Yes.
To raise money in this way.
Yes.
As the city attorney general raising the money.
Doing so, they don't have a plan that can go that has inspection by the court. The court would have a basis for throwing it out because they don't have a plan.
That's in the plan.
They don't have a plan.
No, but I'm saying the initiative that you were proposing had the plan.
It does. It did then, and it does again. We reinstated the same petition on the 9/11realinvestigation.org website.
Right.
I wanna thank you for sharing all this information, and
Right, welcome.
We'll
one city that one time about 5, 6, 7,000 that wants to improve itself, and we will start democracy spreading as a grassroots thing. I need one town willing to do it.
Talk to you again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Yep.